Welcome to Star Wars Timeline. My name is Ben, and today I'm reviewing the third episode of the Ewoks show, Rampage of the Phlogs. I've already finished the droid show, and I'm sort of making it my Friday's tradition to check out Star Wars Classic and review it here for you guys. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to find out what happens in this particular episode, you have your child sitting next to you, you guys are going to watch it yourselves, please turn away from this video now. Go see it, guys, come back, and hopefully we'll have a friendly discussion. You'll drop a comment, and I'll get your reply, and we'll share our thoughts and opinions on the show. Without further ado, let's jump into it. So, we begin this episode with the girls hanging out at the river, they're having a passing of time, and they're just chatting. We find out that Latara likes Tebow. She's hanging out with her friend Nisa, and they're laughing about and, being young girls that they are. And here we find the new denizens of the Endor moon. We encounter the Phlog family. These huge giants stroll in, and the girls have to duck and cover because they're passing through. They're very intimidating and large creatures. They almost look like the ogres of the Star Wars universe. They sort of remind me of Ralph McQuarrie concept art that we see of the Endor moon. Obviously, the creatures portrayed, they are kind of different. They have huge ears. I believe we encounter those aliens in the Ewok live-action movies. This is something similar, a play on different denizens of Star Wars universe and just introducing a new species. I kind of like them from the beginning. They're very goofy looking and they sort of look intimidating, but at the same time, you get a sense of them being benevolent even before the Ewoks discuss them further on. And I like from the beginning that they use this gibberish language, which we don't quite understand what they're saying. I think it serves two purposes. Number one, it sort of creates that feeling that like, hey, these are alien beings that are talking an alien language. But honestly, it's an example of something like a Tom and Jerry early cartoons. You are able to convey a story without dialogue at all. And I think this is very important and digestible for kids. It kind of looks easy on the surface, but I feel that to be able to execute this kind of episode and storytelling as a showrunner, as animation creators, it's not an easy task at all. And I think they passed in this episode with flying colors because you understand what this family is all about. You understand their distress when the baby's missing. You understand perfectly why they're mad and what calms them down. So that was very effectively done. I really enjoyed it a lot. The girls run back to the village and they inform the chieftain and the rest of the Ewoks like, hey, the family's back. What are we going to do? And here we see Milani. She kind of warms up to the Wicked. He's like, hey, did you notice my new head? She's like flirting with him. She wants the boy to pay attention to her. Hey guys, I like that a lot. It's a very sweet moment, and it's showing early children that like boys and girls, we could be friends, and it's very innocent, and I like that a lot. They're showing these early stages of developing ages and emotions in children, and how they start relating and connecting with one another. And then we hear Chief Logrand's warning. He says, look, the Phlogs are benevolent, peaceful creatures, but we should still stay away from them. Obviously, they're large, they're intimidating, they could cause a lot of trouble for us. And we're back to the family, where the mother ogre, that's what I'm calling them, Phlogs are basically ogres, the mother ogre, she's plucking this tree for its little apples. And right there's an emphasis on them being good creatures and not bad ones, because she doesn't just tear up the tree and discards it and gets all the apples from it. She just gently shakes that. Very, very important cue there. It's a simple show. It's very digestible. It's for kids, but I felt that it was a very important narrative point to make, that they're not evil creatures. Yes, they're large and they're very powerful, but this is who they are, and I like that a lot. Of course, baby being a baby, he's sitting there and he's like his little nursery or whatever you want to call it, and then he just breaks free and he crawls away. Enter Morag, the witch's bag. I hate her guts. She's an excellent villain, and she's up to no good in this episode once again. What does she do? Well, something quite evil that the villain is supposed to do. She bewitches the child with her magic stick, and she sets up the Ewoks that as if they stole it. Why? Because she wants the village destroyed. Man, I was hating that. Oh my god, not only does she cause trouble for the family of the Phlogs, she's actually wants the whole village of Ewoks destroyed. Not good. Excellent villain. When you're hating the villain so much, the story is telling it very, very well. And we're back to the Dulag's tribe, and they're actually entrusted with caring after the baby. And at first I thought that Dulocs are kind of like autonomous, they are by themselves, they don't answer to anybody. But when Morag threatens them with the little magical staff of hers, they start listening to him. Like, oh, okay, at least now I know in this third episode who is calling the shots in this force. She's actually bullying them around. They were just chilling there, being like, I guess, neutral evil, if we go by Dungeons and Dragons kind of like a character setup. They don't want to cause trouble. They just want to be left alone in their little forest camp. And she's there. She's telling, no, 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 this is what you're going to do. I want the Ewok village destroyed. She's the main bad guy here. We see the little group of Ewoks are hanging around there on the trees. And here is where Wicked is being mean to Tebow's little sister, Milani. He calls her a pest, and she's like, oh, look, she's always swooning over me with the big eyes. And once again, I felt this was a very important story cue. Sometimes kids are being very, very mean. They don't intend to be so, and they don't check the words, what they say. And unfortunately, she hears that, and obviously, Milani, she's all up in tears. She's very upset, the words that he calls her, and she runs off. And of course, Wicked and friends, they go look for their friend because they think Milani could be in trouble. There's a huge family of Phlogs running around, and they don't want anything to their friend happen to their friend. As they're running around, they obviously run into this family, and they're enraged. They're looking for the toddler, and our friends need to escape. And how they do so, they jump into this hollow tree bark, and they roll it up a little bit, and then it plunges over the cliff and drops into the river. I like that moment. I wish there was a little bit more of it. It shows how resourceful the Ewoks are. And I just felt it was such a cool and fun roller coaster ride sort of moment. They should have expanded just a little bit of it and give the kids a little bit more entertainment. We are back to the Duloc village. I thought this was the funnest part of this episode and probably one of the funnest part of the show so far. What are they doing? And how do they know they're not really the bad guy here? They are looking after this giant baby. They have to give it food because it's always crying. And then the really cool moment where one of the Dulocs comes to the chieftain and is like, oh, I know it's why it's crying. And it whispers in the ear. Obviously, the baby basically pooped itself. And they're trying to sort out. The chieftain is like, you will earn my eternal gratitude if one of you, and of course the village disappears. And it looks like he's the one who has to check the baby and, clean the baby out. It was just such a fun and sweet and innocent moment. It's just, oh man, it's got to be a delight for families with your kids. You guys are sitting down watching this episode. It's just going to be such a fun and funny, goofy moment. It's wonderful. I think what the show is trying to establish, it flies, with its passing colors, and it accomplishes it really well. Again, baby being the baby that he is, he's caged because the chieftain says, see ya, I gotta go get my sleep, and the baby is running off. Now we see this chance encounter with Milani, obviously being the sweet Ewok that she is. She befriends the toddler, and we're back to the Duloc camp with friends, with everyone else, and they need to make a plan to escape the camp, right? They need to deliver the baby because the Ewok village is in danger. What they do is what I've been expecting and actually waiting from this show up to this point and finding it delivered. Some music. For those of us who grew up with Saturday morning cartoons like Disney, DuckTales, and so forth, music is obviously very important. And of course, the Ewoks use the music to their advantage. They put the entire camp to sleep. Once again, from the animation standpoint, all of those character reactions, how like the Dulocs are just hanging in there, like sitting like royalty around there, listening to these birds chirping, and like slowly each one of them is being put to sleep. Wonderful animation. There's so much character there. There's so much emphasis on reactions, how they slowly fall. Just beautiful, beautiful. The art in this show, honestly, it what brings me in. I'm an animator, right? I have a BA in traditional animation from School of Visual Arts here in New York City. And this is actually one of the angles that I'm looking at the show from, is the artistic aspect of it. The animation, the background design, the character design. Once again, whoever produced the show, huge applause. You guys killed it. It looks so, so awesome. Anyway, they put the village to sleep, and they do something a little bit ridiculous, but whatever. It's a kid's show. They pick up this giant toddler baby and they carry it off, which tells us one thing. The Ewoks are got to be pretty powerful for short little beings that they are. they are quite resourceful A and physically able B. So you don't want to mess with them, right? We saw in the Return of the Jedi how they are able to assist the rebels and actually win the day. So we see a little episode of here of them carrying off a baby. We're back to the village, and the Ewoks mean business. I was a little bit surprised. They're ready for war, man. They got their bows out, they got spears, they got the catapults. They're gonna defend their village no matter what. And of course, the family's there. They're mad, and they're throwing rocks and wood pieces at the village. And there was one cool episode. It was, I think, there or earlier in the episode where one of the girls, the Ewok girls, falls from the cliff, and one of the Ewok chieftain, he like closes his eyes and he does this gesture, and one of the trees bends over and picks up the Ewok girl. And I'm thinking to myself, is this an early example of showing us that Ewoks are also familiar with the Force and they know how they use it? Wow, this is actually pretty cool. That was another highlight of the episode. I didn't expect that at all. Anyway, the kids, our Ewok friends, they bring the baby back to the village. They show who the bad guys are. They deliver the toddler back to the family. Everything is resolved. Everything is cool. Of course, the family chases the Dulags off. And just when they thought their troubles are over, it's like, okay, how much worse can it get, right? Boom, Morax comes out and she like unleashes her magic on them. And of course, they have to run off. Very, very funny, very goofy stuff going on there. I really enjoy that. Of course, by the towards the end of the episode, Wicket has to apologize to Melania and say, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I say. And I guess that is the main story thread of this episode. I love children's shows that are not preachy. They're not doing this and teaching the kids, well, you're supposed to say, do this, like this, act like so. Instead, it's showing by example. And it shows that in the beginning of the episode, the good boy Wicket, that we know, he was being mean. He said something that he didn't intend to offend his friend, but now towards the end of the episode, he makes up with her, and even though it's not easy to say, look, I was wrong, I'm sorry, he has to go through with it and say he's sorry and make up with his friend. It's such an important key moment for children, and I'm so glad that Disney was able to bring the show back to D+ and immortalize it in a way. And the future generation of Star Wars fan children get to watch it and enjoy it and learn powerful lessons from it. Very excellently done. This was another 4 out of 4 episode from me straight up. Guys, I don't know why I'm having a kick with this show. It's just so much fun to watch. We have the Book of Boba Fett geared towards more towards our age group, obviously. And I have Ewok show that I'm watching here. It's a blast. Once again, I'm being a little bit greedy. I'm so upset it's only 2 seasons long, but at least it's a season longer than the Droids show, which I did not expect I'm going to enjoy, and I actually ended up loving it. Same is happening here, and actually I've got to say I fell in love with the Ewok show much quicker than I did with the Droids, because artistically and in terms of animation, it just elevated the bar so much more. Excellent show. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my review. I would love to hear your comments. What do you think about the show? Let me know if this episode impressed you as much as it did for me. And if you enjoyed my review, you want to hear what I have to say about the next episode, please consider subscribing, hit that bell button, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.